Greetings, teammates. Chris Anderson here with your September EMI Equipper. You know, as we roll into September, fall is upon us. The kids are back in school, football's back on TV, and for a lot of us, our seasons are transitioning from in-season to postseason. And if you haven't made that transition yet, you're probably getting pretty close. Well, as we make that transition, I wanted to encourage all of us to actively pursue discipling opportunities with the relationships we've formed over this past season. And to help us do that, I'm going to suggest 3 things. The first thing is this. I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to write down the names of some of the casual relationships that you've been able to invest in over the course of this year. These might be brand new relationships, or maybe people that you've known for 3 or 5 or 10 years who you were able to invest in over this past year. And we're looking for people who you know their name, and they hopefully know your name, but your relationship just really never got any deeper than that, simply because the context where you interacted with them didn't really allow for it. Some examples of who these people might be. People that you've trained with, maybe in a group setting or one-on-one, who you just happen to bump into. Maybe they were always at the track that you ride at, or they're always on the trail that you're running on. Maybe it's the person who swims next to you 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe it's the person who's at the gym. You know, you show up at 5 a.m. and he or she's always there. Think about the places that you visit, shops and stores. You know, who's always selling you your shoes, or who sold you your last bike? Who's the mechanic who's always fixing your bike? Think about other group activities, other clubs and teams, some of the leaders that you've partnered with, or the people that you just happen to always run with at the local running store run that you do. Some of those casual relationships who, again, you know them, they know you, but you don't have a deep relationship. I want you to write their names down on this list. Secondly, I want you to commit to praying for the people on this list. Pray that over the next few days and weeks and months, the Holy Spirit would draw them closer to Him. Whether they're hostile to God or they've been walking with the Lord for 30 years, that God would draw them to Himself, and He would create a hunger in them to know Him better, to love Him more, and to grow closer to Him. 3, in the following days and weeks and months, I want you to set up a one-on-one appointment with every person on this list, or at least try to. Invite them to coffee, invite them to lunch, figure out whatever's going to work in your schedule and theirs, where you're going to create a one-on-one opportunity and the space that's going to allow you to get to know them better and create the opportunity to have a spiritual discussion. This is going to be a great opportunity to try that SHARE acronym that we talked about back in July. And if this person doesn't know the Lord, or if you're not sure, then be courageous enough to share your testimony. Be courageous enough to ask them, hey, have you ever considered what the Bible teaches? And if they haven't, or even if they have, ask them, well, would you mind if I just briefly explain what it teaches, and share the gospel with them? And then finally, create an opportunity for them to grow in their faith in a Christian community. If they're not actively involved in a church, invite them to church with you. Invite them to the next huddle activity. Invite them to join your small group. Invite them to be part of some community where they're going to see what it looks like when brothers and sisters worship the Lord together, and where they grow together and have an opportunity to, again, move closer to the Lord. Here's the point. You've spent a season investing in relationships. Now it's time to steward those relationships. I've got to tell you, as I look at the men on my list, I can't wait to get to know each of these guys better and to encourage them in their faith. And I'm just inviting you to join me in that. And I'll tell you this, if a few of the men on my list and a few of the people on your list take a step and grow closer to the Lord in this coming off season, we're going to be well on our way to impacting our community for Christ and a season of winning at what matters most. God bless you as you go do this.
All the Christian soldiers marching as you were.